Welcome to the Hot and Cold Podcast.
Where it's all meat and no mashed potatoes.
I really think that they should go back to the powder blue unis full time.
I love the powder blue unis.
They are so stinking cool, or at least involve the powder blue into a regular uniform. Maybe not go back to that exact one. You know, like they do on throwback days, they go back to like the exact style.
Yeah.
But why not bring the powder blue back? I know they were trying to in this new release thing that they did, but
Hey, I have a question for you.
okay.
Will you promise not to spit on me?
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna take my mask off.
This mask was homemade by my sister in San Francisco.
It's quite impressive.
Yeah. You like it?
Hey, well, you probably already looked at it. Who is this?
Jeff Bannister.
Isn't that cool?
It's pretty cool.
I mean, you can't say he's your favorite because we really have some quite awesome, and he was such short-lived.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm telling you, I really thought
Do you know his story as far as being a player?
he was a bullpen catcher, right? Forever?
Yeah, and I think he literally had one at bat in the major leagues. Like
No
he
way.
had one AB.
For who? Houston?
Pittsburgh, I think, is
Was that who he was for?
yeah.
Minor leagues for?
I'm almost positive of it.
Hey,
I guess I could find it.
I think we're just rolling, by the way. We're on. I'm
Oh,
gonna
okay.
use all this,
Okay.
especially since we're talking about the powder blue.
Right.
It's not the duster, man. We've got an echo in here. I may not use this.
Hold on.
I'm trying to think what that might be from. Hey, Josh.
What's up?
No, I don't hear anymore.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Maybe I'll cut just that part. See, you hear that? You hear that? You hear that? You hear that?
A
Maybe
little
I'll cut
bit.
that. Oh,
Yeah.
man. All right. Well, I'm going to check it real fast just to make sure.
Yeah, here you go. Jeff Bannister, pinch hitter. One at bat, one hit. On base percentage, 1,000. Slugging, 1,000.
So he's
A 1,000 batting average.
he's the perfect MLB player.
Yeah.
That kind of reminds me of Field of Dreams.
You always have to be ready.
Yeah.
Because when your number's called, you're expected to produce. He
What
got
was-
called one time.
Yeah.
And he got on base one time
Hey,
with a hit.
Does that any idea how old he was?
At that time,
Yeah.
it was
old?
1991. He was born in 64. So quick math says
20.
33?
Yeah.
No,
24. 26. 64.
born in
27.
64.
27. So yeah, he probably spent 7 or 8 years playing ball in different organizations. So what's the guy in Field of Dreams that got Archie? Moonlight Graham?
Moonlight Graham.
Yeah.
Doc Graham.
He goes, now if I'd only got to save one life, no, if I only got to be a doctor for one day, now that'd be a tragedy. Love that, dude. Do you have a agenda?
Well, I sent one over to you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you got it.
I just
thought maybe we would start with, before we got Ranger specific, that we would just do MLB
I think
in
that's
general
I
as
think-
far as like all these new regulations, new setup,
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
new protocols.
So every inning is starting with the guy on second?
No. That would be pretty interesting though. No, it's only extra innings.
Extra innings, okay.
Yeah, is that one.
That's
yeah,
so
so-
strange.
Right, but they've actually been doing this in the minors for the last 2 years.
I had no idea.
So, yeah,
Are you
it's been-
serious?
So the whole idea came up from these last actually few years. They've been trying to, how can we pick up the pace of play, right?
Yeah.
How can we
Yep.
not have people sitting in the stands for 4.5 hours for a
Yeah.
9-inning game? So there's a handful of these things that they've been trying out, implementing in different leagues, throughout the minor leagues. They've been working with some of these ideas and actually putting them into play. And this is one that they've been using the last 2 years. And in fact, since they started doing it 2017 season, 93% of all extra inning games have ended by the 11th inning.
Wow. So, okay.
So
Yeah, that's not.
So there's no more like 15, 16, 17
18.
inning games outside. And you may have one or two outliers a year that are like that. But basically, 93%. That's basically all extra inning games are ending by the 11th inning, if not maybe 12th.
So before getting into it, then what do you think? I mean, this is basically going down to purist, or it's kind of like the DH versus the pitcher hitting.
Yeah, which is another one that's this year. The universal DH. They're implementing the universal DH. So
no way.
The entire MLB will be using a DH.
Okay, so is this our expedited season rule?
Yes.
Or is the
as of now?
As of now, oh my!
As
gosh.
of now. So this is I guarantee this is one of those things where because so the commissioner Rob Manfred, I mean, most people hate him, right? They don't think he's that great, but he has been trying to do this whole pick up the pace of play. We want to make baseball more appealing to everyone.
Yeah, so
right, because that purist generation that you're talking about, that is the one that's dying out.
I get it.
There are a handful of, I would say, us that are
Thanks
probably a little bit more purist.
Getting down the mud with me.
Even though I wouldn't say we're old guys, but we're not the target audience that they're trying to get anymore. They're trying to get those young kids to watch and pay attention. And
those millennials.
Why would I sit through a 4.5 hour game when I can have an MLB.com account and the League Pass deal, and I could go back and I could watch the entire game the next day in the span of 30 minutes, only seeing the highlights.
I agree. The problem, like, I remember watching World Series. Now, for your team, it's all worth it. But I remember watching, it was like, and me and Nate Gutierrez, the GM of the Air Hogs, had a similar conversation about this. But like, so here we go. It's glove, pad, cut, 1 foot in, cut, second foot in, cut, hold.
Yeah.
And then it's like the pitcher's like just now getting ready.
Yeah. Because he's also doing
99 fastball, boom.
Yeah,
and then he does it all over again.
The batter does it all over again, and meanwhile the pitcher is stepping off the rubber, kicking the dirt out of his cleats, wiping licking his fingers with his tongue, pulling down his hat, adjusting, getting himself adjusted, and then getting his hand up inside the glove.
And say he goes 20 seconds of doing that, 30 seconds, and then like something's off. He steps off. Same
thing with the hitter, right?
Yeah.
Something doesn't feel a little bit right in the box. Steps out, right?
Yeah.
And so they've been trying to do things like limit those. We're staying in the box instead of going through all those. I always think of Nomar Garcia-Parra. Every time he's adjusting those gloves, and going through that whole thing. But they've also, an idea had been having a pitch clock, right? Almost like a shot clock in basketball. But as soon as the ball comes back to the pitcher, boom, you're on the clock.
Yeah.
And you've got so many seconds, whatever.
I guess that's part of the problem.
To throw it back in.
You've got two guys that you've got to time. The batter's one guy, the pitcher's another guy, right? Like in their setup and what they're going to do. Quick proposal to the MLB. The advancements in video editing are pretty far ahead. So like 30, 45-minute delay where we're summing up the dead time. And I don't mean like pitch, but like five seconds and then and then game time. 5 seconds, game time. And I mean, you can pay a guy a couple $100,000 a year or a team of guys to just go in there and edit the video so fast that they're spitting it out on a 45-minute delay.
Would you have to have a separate team then to then do a broadcast of that shortened game?
Yeah.
Because there would be a lot of cutting in and out of banter back and forth between
if you think about it, all that banter is is space filler.
Oh yeah, it's filling time.
And it's sometimes fun, but sometimes that's when you get to know the really bad one. And
that's when you find out the stories about Jeff Bannister's one at bat.
Yeah,
in Pittsburgh.
Well, and we've all grown to love Tom Grieve, right?
Oh yeah.
Like that's when he's not there,
that's where you hear one of his haikus.
Yeah. Charity golf tournament. Tom Grieve's playing behind me. Will, this guy, he's kind of a knucklehead, is in front of the green to the right at a keg, like unloading. And like, I've never been or claimed to be a good golfer. And so it's like, just go ahead and tee off. Literally, Tom Grieve's standing behind me, Tom Grieve. And I tee off and I just shank it right over Will's head. And it's one of those classic, like, he kind of does like, it's like a deer that hears the gunshot that ducks, right? And it's like, shoom. And Tom Grieve like says something to my buddies he's playing with. I don't remember what he said, but it was just like, it was quite embarrassing.
That's awesome.
Tom Grieve story, man. Great guy. Golly. Okay, so rule 1 is second guy. Okay. In extra innings, we got a guy on second. Wow.
Yeah, start out with a guy. And it is the whoever made the last out of the previous inning.
Oh, cool.
So you're not having to worry about.
You can still claim glory?
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess. And the other cool thing about it is for the pitcher, that guy who starts out standing on second, if he does come around to score, it does not count as an earned run against you.
Oh, good.
So it's almost like he got on base by error.
We're already finding faults in this. So in a 160-game season, I get it. Let's sure this. In game 72, when the Yankees are playing the Rays, and it's inning 19 at 1 o'clock at night, and they're deciding whether they want to like postpone it. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. Although I think that's the magic of baseball.
Right.
But listen, part of what we're going to talk about today is 2010, 2011, particularly 2011 Rangers heartbreak that I'm still getting over.
Right.
And what if there was a guy on second and instead of a home run, Trumbo, it's a little dinker that gets past the first baseman and they score and win the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would not be
right.
So in the shortened season,
the other thing about that rule too, it will only be for regular season. Good. Once we get into playoffs, that like what the scenario you gave won't be an issue.
So here's
but that's back to normal.
But what? Wait. Here we go. Right? What is normal? No,
don't even say it.
I know.
Don't say new normal. I hate that phrase.
I get it, and that's the problem. Is so, hey, the game sped up and attendance was up this year.
Well, actually, no, the attendance won't be up because nobody can come.
No, I think I saw previews of a game and they had cardboard.
Yes,
cutouts.
The Rangers are selling cardboard cutout lookalikes of you. Like you can upload a picture of yourself cheering for the Rangers and get a cardboard cutout of you.
Did you tell me? Is that true? If you get you can pay, and if the ball hits your seat, you get $100.
Yes, if the ball hits you while your cardboard cutout in your seat, you get the ball. They'll send it to you. Yeah,
but you got to pay for that.
I'm pretty sure you have to
whatever.
I don't know. I would think that there would probably have some kind of caveat in there where you have to own that seat, like be a season ticket holder of that seat.
Yeah, I'd like to.
I'm sure
this is too far into.
They'll always try to upsell you on something.
Yeah, maybe too far into what we're doing today, but the average ticket sale price and income, and I mean take away your expenses too, right? Because the majority of the money's TV money, right? I mean, that's why it's so difficult to. Okay, I signed up for Hulu today.
Yeah. And so you could get Fox Sports Southwest?
Yep.
Right. I've got to find something to do.
YouTube TV apparently dropped Fox Sports Southwest. They couldn't come to an agreement. Yeah. That was going to be what I was going to sign up for. So, I think after you confirmed, I was like, okay. So, by the way, for 2-3 years at least, I've watched one game. Let's go innings. I've watched 9 innings.
Oh wow, yeah.
And I was telling you all ago, I'm still upset. Like it's tough watching Rangers baseball since 2011.
Absolutely.
And 12 and 13 up to about 15 when they were still kind of doing okay.
Right, yeah.
Like it was kind of exciting, but they're just missing. And the striking gold in 2011 and like doing what we did was like so amazing. And like, I feel like we'll never gonna get back to that.
Well, I do think that there is hope. And I actually had, you asked me if I had an agenda. I actually had a little portion of when we talk about the new stadium and the new facilities.
Yeah.
I was actually going to bring up a little bit about that I do think that there is a small ray of sunshine.
Yeah.
Of a future hope.
Pin it.
For the Rangers coming back into relevance.
This isn't a Star Wars episode.
No.
The future hope. A new generation.
Even though they play next to the Death Star.
Yeah,
no,
right.
It's not gonna
Good
not
call.
gonna be a Star Wars show.
Okay.
But okay, so
let's go with MLB rules.
Well, a couple more of the MLB rules. It is a 60-game season.
Yeah.
Instead of 162.
3-game series still?
Yeah, there's
Mostly
there's still some of those. There's even still
so not as many.
like 2-game series.
Yeah, a lot more 2-game series.
Yeah, and they actually play a 2-game home and home deal with San Diego. I think it's in the middle. I think it's in the middle of August. Like they go there for 2 games, and then they immediately come back here and play them for 2 games.
That's tough
And
travel, but
it is, and the Rangers are going to be one of the longest traveled teams.
Oh, really?
In the league this year because we are so far
from everything
east to be playing in the West.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And so
yeah.
all of our division
You gotta get
opponents outside of Houston are all on the West Coast.
So why?
Which means there's going to be a ton of 9 o'clock starts.
Houston's not in our division anymore
this year.
Yeah,
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. They're in the AL West, but that's the only one that's closest. Everything else is going out playing the Angels, playing the A's, playing the Mariners, and then
I'm so confused.
This year, how they're doing the schedule is you play 40 games versus your division opponents.
Okay.
So we'll play 40 games versus Angels, A's, Mariners, Astros.
Yeah.
Okay. Then what they've done is the other 20 games are made up of your National League counterpart. So we will play those other 20 games that are not in our division against the NL West.
NL West.
Yeah. So that's all games versus the Dodgers, the Padres, the Giants, and the Diamondbacks.
So
and the Rockies.
AL East, AL Central.
We will not play another American League.
East or Central.
East or Central team.
Any East or Central.
No, unless we make the wild card or make the playoffs and face them in the playoffs.
Yeah. Unless.
So no. Well, so we won't see the Yankees this year. There's no Boston. There's no White Sox. There's no Royals.
You know those
None
guys. I feel bad for the guys who bought their tickets so they could sell their Yankee and
selling
Boston
their Yankees
tickets.
and Red Sox
Sorry,
tickets,
dude.
yeah. Make all my money back.
You got suckered this year. I would have. I almost bought them, and a buddy of mine didn't call me back. Like we talked about it, and I found out he bought before COVID, and he didn't. So I almost want to be like, "Ha, gotcha," but
Yeah.
I kind of wish I would have.
Right. So that is that's.
Well, taking away the 3-game series is a big deal. I mean, because that's a playoff baseball setup. You know, best out of 3. You got your top 3 lineup. I mean, kind of that.
Right.
And so taking that out's a big deal. The quick travel, they do that a couple of times.
Right. Yeah.
But that's usually their day off is their travel day.
Or they'll play, like if they know that they're going to be traveling and playing the next day. A lot of times that day, the day before it's a day game, or like a 1 o'clock game or a 3 o'clock game, so that they can get out and get to where they're going by that evening, wherever they're going to play the next day. So travel is going to be a little bit hectic for the fans who are going to watch on TV. There are going to be a lot of late night games. The only games
Why? Oh,
the only games
West
that are going to
Coast.
start in Central Time Zone are the ones that we play at home, of course, and then the games against the Astros. Everything else is going to be
there's no others.
no. It's all those 9 o'clock starts out there on the West Coast.
I feel like, well, I guess the ones that they're here, so 20, You'll still have majority of them, but even the NL games now, right? The NL games are West.
Yeah,
so
they're
those
all on the
are-
West Coast. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go cancel. It's a 1 week membership, or a free trial.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay.
So I'll watch Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and see how I feel.
yeah.
$54.99
For the year?
month.
For the month. Okay.
For Hulu.
Okay.
But I think that's the Hulu, like everything.
Okay. I thought you meant just like a baseball package or something.
No,
Oh, okay.
no, it's I'm buying access to Fox Sports Southwest.
Okay, gotcha.
Which, by the way, when I bought it, I turned it on, and it was USC, UCLA sand volleyball, women's sand volleyball, and I'm going
Yeah.
in. You know, I'm like, I mean, I
into
yelled
it.
out loud. Like,
yeah, yeah.
I haven't done that in
Right.
years, and I think that can be a joke. Like I'm saying, I'm not saying that as a joke. Like I was ingrained.
Wow. So other rules, and so this one was going to be put in place even before the pandemic and all this.
Okay.
The season getting paused was the 3 batter minimum, not a 3 drink minimum, a 3 batter minimum. So instead of like having this lefty specialist who only comes in to face this one left-handed batter for the matchup
pitcher.
purposes, if you're bringing in a pitcher, he has to face at least 3 batters, regardless of lefty, righty, whatever the matchup is.
Regardless
you
of
can't put
sexual
him in.
preference.
You can't. No, you can't put him. You can't put a guy in to face 1 batter and then pull him. Right. You have to face a minimum of 3 batters or make the final out of an inning.
Okay.
So
I get
if
that.
there were 2 outs and you came in and you got the guy, then you can be done.
Oh my gosh! You
But-
bring in a guy to get the final out. He doesn't get it. You can't pull him.
You can't pull him. Well, at least for 2 more batters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I like that rule.
Mm-hmm.
How is that? And so I'm trying. Maybe I'm dissecting myself. I really like that rule, but how is that? I'm trying to compare that to like the purist and
Well, it's the whole philosophy of how you build your bullpen. Of I want to make sure in my bullpen I have that one guy who I know can get a lefty out.
yeah, no matter what. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Can get that lefty on lefty matchup, and if it's my starter who I've let go a half inning too long, and now he's got 2 men on, and we're nursing a 1-run lead.
Yeah.
And we've got 2 outs, and I've got a lefty coming up. My starter's the righty. He's out of gas. I know I can call down to the bullpen, get Joe Blow lefty up, and he's going to get him out every time. Right.
Yeah.
Now that's gone.
Okay. Let's say so less pitching changes means
Pace of play
pace of play is higher.
quickens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to overthink this. Do you think pitchers are fatigued by time or by pitch count?
Well, I think it's more or less. I would say in general pitch count.
I guess I mean
It also depends on what the style of the pitcher is. If he's like a finesse guy, if he's a Greg Maddux that's never going to throw over 93,
Yeah.
but he'll throw it. I mean, on the head of a needle
every time.
every single time.
Yeah.
Pitch count isn't going to worry. It's
Yeah.
not going to be a problem with him. If he's a Roldis Chapman who's throwing everything he's got 105 miles an hour
Yeah.
every single pitch,
Yeah.
then pitch count's going to get him.
I got you.
Other thing I would say is also where you're pitching, right?
Yeah.
If it's
and
if
we're
it's
gonna talk about
August,
that.
if it's the middle of August at
Pre
in a day game
here.
at the ballpark in Arlington, you're going to run out of gas by the 4th or 5th inning, no matter what your
Who
stamina
you are.
is, because you're
Yeah.
out there just sweating to death.
Yeah. Getting an IV drip in
Right.
between innings.
Right. And again, we'll come back to that in a minute when we talk about facilities. But I think that could be that's a part of our little ray of sunshine, our little ray of hope.
Man, I'm telling you, I was looking at our pitcher rotation.
Yeah.
Which I had. So I started looking up because Corey Kluber, I can remember him being in Cleveland just a few years ago when I was really heavy into daily fantasy sports.
Yeah, and a stud,
Oh, dude.
like Cy Young Award candidate.
And I found out we have kept Corey Kluber. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
But this
Yeah.
is post injury, right? So
Right.
we're not okay.
It's
So
another
anyway.
one of those great Ranger reclamation projects.
Yeah.
We are notorious. I wouldn't say famous for them, but we are notorious for them. You're
'Cause
not
we
famous
messed up
until you
on
hit.
Prince.
you hit on a few of them.
Okay, so
So another one is if you're talking about rosters,
yeah,
is so in this makeshift mini spring training that they brought back that they've been doing these last few weeks, right, in order to get ready for the restart. Each team was able to bring back 60 players, like this pool of 60 players that could enter into this modified extra spring training.
yeah,
And then before opening day, so in the next couple of days, each team has to then whittle that 60 down to 30, a 30-man roster. And that's who you start your opening
that's
day with.
the normal.
Well, normal used to be 25-man.
Oh, okay. So
Then
we
they
get 5 extra players.
Then they were bumping it up to 26.
Yeah,
And so to start the season now, they're going to start with 30.
good.
After 2 weeks of play, it then trims down again to 28.
Yeah,
And then 2 more weeks go by. So basically after the first month of the season, now you're back down to your 26-man roster.
that's definitely a COVID
Right,
rule.
right.
I mean, there's that.
And they're doing a couple of things, a couple of little modifications that'll help expedite if you need, if you're on a road trip and someone goes down
Yeah,
and you've got to make a roster move to get somebody in.
yeah,
What they're doing is those guys who, let's say you're a month and a half into the season, so basically you're almost done with the season. Those guys who got cut from
Yeah.
that 30 down to 26,
yeah,
along with those pool players, who were in the original 60 but didn't quite make the opening day roster, all of those guys, they've still been training
yeah.
under the supervision of the MLB club,
Okay.
but they're in an alternate site.
And they're
And
not
actually, the Rangers' alternate site is going to be the ballpark in Arlington, which is just right across the street, right across the parking lot.
Literally, are
Yeah.
they minor leagues playing?
No, there's
Not
no
at all.
minor league season, and that's why they did this pool of 60, then down to the 30, so that all those guys are still training. They're going to be doing inter squad type stuff.
Most minor
Staying in
leagues
shape.
are probably lost leaders, right? Like I think, like for example, the Airhogs don't make any money. Round Rock, I don't know what they make, but they also get a $250,000 check from Major League from the Rangers, right?
Right. Yeah.
So if Airhogs got a $250,000 check every year, it'd be a different
right.
deal, right?
Right.
And I say lost leaders in the sense that like people go to see when guys are on DLs, to see the diehards see the minor league, and then a little bit
Right.
cheaper baseball.
And you got and you do have your prospects that are down there. Your guys
Yeah.
that whether you signed them at international pool money, or from different countries, with South America or Central America or wherever you pulled them from.
Yeah.
The islands, and also your guys you drafted
So
over
what
these
are all
last
those
couple of
guys
years.
doing then?
So MLB has guaranteed their contracts through the remainder of
They're $800 a month.
$400 a week.
Yeah.
Is what they get, and so they've guaranteed that through the original calendar season of the minor leagues, which was like September.
Sure.
I think it's like 4th,
Yeah.
September 4th or something, or 7th. Was their originally scheduled end of league.
Way to stick it out there for them.
Yeah.
Like, thanks.
But so these guys who are a part of this pool, this 60-man pool that originally happened, right? They're still training. They're still off-site. The guys who aren't on the opening day roster aren't on the active roster. They're over there still training, so that their number could be called at any time to come up and fill a
Good.
spot on the roster. While teams are on the road, like when we're making a West Coast swing for the Rangers, if we're gone, they can take what's called a taxi squad with them, and it's three guys. It can be up to 3 guys, but if you have 3, one of the 3 has to be an extra catcher,
Yeah.
right? And then most likely it's going to be one position player and one pitcher. You can do that however you want to, but most likely that's probably what it's going to be. That way you don't have the issue of we don't have a minor league season, right? So we can't just call down and say, hey, get on the
Right,
next flight.
right.
We need you to be available in the bullpen tomorrow because Leclerc's got a blister or
Yeah.
whatever, that kind of a deal. So those taxi squad guys, they travel with the team. They're staying there with the team.
And is that regardless of the 30, 28, 26 man roster? Like if it's 30, they still have 3.
Yes.
If it's 26, they have 3.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Okay.
Yeah. That taxi squad will always be.
Yeah.
The taxi squad will always be available. Yeah.
Yeah. Do they take the players home after the game if they've been drinking? Taxi.
Oh, the taxi squad. I don't know. Does Tony Danza drive them? Taxi.
Nice.
All
Wow.
right, yeah.
Tony Danza, he's R.I.P. Is Tony Danza dead? Yeah, he's dead. Gotta be.
Are you sure?
I think so. I think he died
man.
years ago.
This is difficult territory. I don't.
COVID.
I don't think he died of COVID.
Hey, okay, so I don't want to forget Josh Jung,
Oh yeah.
Texas
Yeah.
Tech,
Right. Yeah.
and he's like our best prospect, right?
Yeah. One of our really
And he'll
good prospects.
be in that 60. He's not going to be like in the minors, not playing. He'll be in that 60 man.
No, yeah.
If not on our regular roster.
Absolutely right. So that was. So I think it was a very smart move by the Rangers because I don't want to say that competition is wide open, right? 60 games, anything can happen in 60 games, right? Just go back to last year. In the first 60 games, the Washington Nationals were at the bottom of the entire league. Yeah, I don't even think they had a winning record. Like they were
Who won the World
really
Series last
awful.
year?
The Washington Nationals.
Who'd they beat?
They got hot in the summer.
Kansas City?
And no.
That's
Man.
that's a good point about baseball, by the way.
Yeah.
You're
Anything can happen in 60 games.
Yeah.
But what the Rangers have done is they saw that, okay, minor leagues aren't going to happen. Well, we're not just going to let these kids that we've invested high draft picks in, a lot of money in, a lot of signing bonus money in. We're not just going to let them sit around on their couch eating bonbons.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to make them be a part of the 60-man roster, even if for all intents and purposes, we are not going to have them play or see an at bat this year, but we're going to have them as a part of that training, just so that we can keep our eye on them, keep our people working with them, and keep pushing them to develop and reach their potential. And they've got a handful of those guys that are the Josh Youngs. You have Shirt and Apostle is another one who they're really high on.
I never knew that. I don't know.
Outfielder Leody Taveras is another one.
Okay.
They've got a couple of pitchers.
It's so crazy, going back to early aughts and definitely in the up to the World Series years, I could tell you a majority. I read the minor league report.
Yeah.
I mean, like I was totally into it, and we had I think you do this. You have a minor league part of your fantasy sports.
So
we did a little bit of that.
I'm in a fantasy baseball league, actually two of them, where we have a full, the 25, 26-man active MLB roster.
Yeah.
We also have the availability. Not everybody has a full minor league squad, but I'm pretty sure in both of my leagues I'm at 36 to 38 minor league players. We have a full minor league draft. We trade prospects back and forth.
That's awesome.
We hold them to if a rookie meets a certain threshold of at bats or innings pitch, you've got to bring them up or you got to release them.
Oh, cool.
So you've got to try to, plan your roster around. Well, look, this guy's not going to last.
Yeah.
Another season or so in the minors. I've got to call him up, and maybe cut a guy that you didn't really want to.
Find the time
to keep
for
the prospects,
this, man.
I don't know.
Priorities, right?
Priorities.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you, how are you make time for this today? I mean, I know you're busy, so thanks for
no worries.
time.
I'll always make time for baseball. I love baseball.
Good. And I got excited because I started thinking about they're actually going to play. This is for me right now, a current highlight of COVID,
right.
Or attempting to come out of COVID. And especially since I've not been into baseball.
Right.
For something came, I protested sports, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I was spending so much time just completely involved with it. And I knew friends that weren't into sports, right? I knew people. Yeah. It's common. I mean, I know it's common to be into sports, but it's also common to not be in sports.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So I went down that route and successfully, really. I mean, I kind of just forgot about it, and I miss it.
Right, absolutely.
So, especially baseball, man. It's I'll try to keep score sometimes.
Oh yeah, keep a book.
Yeah,
keep a scorebook.
It's so cool because it keeps you involved.
Right. Yeah, keeps you watching.
You're talking about how long the game is. It's even hard to keep score because you keep talking, and you're like, "Oh crap, what was that?"
Yeah, right.
But if you're intently,
that was an F7.
Yeah,
Are
right.
you sure?
Let's go, and then I'll pull up on my phone and see how they scored it.
Yeah.
but it keeps you involved. And then
Yeah.
when the third time that guy comes up, you'll say, "Oh, he fouled out to the pitcher twice," or whatever.
Yeah, right.
And you can almost start predicting how guys are going to hit. It's
Yeah.
fun.
And
Okay.
so the last, as far as like the differences in schedule, changes, protocols, things that they've done as far as health and safety, like we mentioned, those guys who are on those taxi squads
Yeah.
that are on the road. Maybe it's tomorrow's starting pitcher, the projected starting pitcher for tomorrow, or the guy who just threw last night. They're not going to allow those guys to sit in the dugouts or in the bullpens.
Okay.
They're going to have special seating sectioned off for them to sit so that they're not close to anybody, trying to keep that distance
Yeah. As long as
to
possible.
non-essential
Yeah.
personnel, which they deem non-essential. They actually, I was reading an article about it that was saying that it was basically people who are projected to not be involved in the game are suggested to sit in this seating.
Okay.
So really, and all the coaches who are in the dugout, anyone who is basically on the bench, right, who's not actively involved out in the field or batting, they all have to wear masks inside the dugout.
So the camera shots of the dugouts, they're gonna have masks.
Yeah, they're gonna be wearing masks.
Do we have 1919 images of baseball players wearing masks?
During the Spanish flu.
Yeah.
I don't know if we
bet
do or
there
not.
is. I bet there is.
It's very
I'm
possible.
gonna look it up. But
Yeah, so they have to wear masks inside the dugout. The huge one right here, there's no spitting involved. So there's no sunflower seeds, which I'm out.
yeah. Did they quit?
That's what I have to at baseball games. I have to have sunflower seeds.
Did they quit? Was dip still part of MLB, or had they taken that out? I feel like they had taken dip away.
I don't know if it was ever completely taken away. I know it's strongly recommended to not
Right.
or have the tobacco-less chew, type stuff.
I hope that I can remember to do this when I edit. There's the
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
yeah. See if
I mean,
can
I don't know if
remember.
that's photoshopped or not, but yeah.
You're right. I guess it could be.
Hey, you said it. Editing, you can do anything in editing now.
Yeah.
Right? So
Pre-corona.
no spitting. So no, like we said, no tobacco, no sunflower seeds.
Dude.
You can still have gum, though, and we talked about the pitcher, right? In their their little routine that they go through before
Yeah.
they throw a pitch. He'll
Yeah.
lick his fingers, wipe his pants, adjust his hat.
Yeah.
No, you can't lick your fingers anymore. So here's what you get: you get to bring out a wet washcloth and put it in your back pocket.
Oh yeah.
So if you need a little moisture on the
a
fingers,
little pine tar in it as well.
You go to rub your butt and
Yeah.
get a little moisture up there off the wet washcloth, and then you can throw your pitch. So
That's where you hide your substance, though, right?
right, yeah, or on the back of the hat or under the brim, that
Man,
kind of thing.
this will be a new form of trying to get the ball.
Yeah,
What was the old man's name in Major League? You trying to say Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball? Taylor, is that last name? It's not. That's the catcher.
that's Dorn, Taylor Dorn, or isn't his name? Was
Dorn
that
is the third baseman,
Oh, okay.
taking the grounders off his chest. But the old man pitcher, he would he always had the
Yeah.
so. I don't like that rule.
No, the wet washcloth. You don't like
Well,
that one, or the no spitting?
Maybe it's the spitting saliva. I mean, that's golly.
Yeah.
It's better than no baseball. I'll say.
Right.
I'll just say that.
It's better than no baseball.
I'll just say that.
Yeah, I'll give up spitting for baseball.
Yeah.
So
Will you?
yeah, so so with the safety protocols and all that kind of stuff, there are no fans allowed to attend the games. And the last thing that I read was at least through the end of July, the commissioner and his group, they were going to reevaluate along with state and public officials in the areas in the markets who have teams.
Yeah.
They were going to reevaluate that come August
Wow.
to see if there's any type of percentage
Relief.
yeah, any
the sense
type
that-
of percentage of capacity available to start opening up for some fans. But as of right now, at least through these first couple of weeks in July with us starting, there's no fans watching.
You could say social distancing the fans and require like the N95 mask. I say N95, just not like my cloth mask that I wear,
Right.
but like requiring a mask. And here's another good question. Suite holders inside their suite. That seems like a moneymaker, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you have a catering crew set up. I'm surprised that's not a thing.
Right.
Because a lot of the old stadium's got, 100 suites probably? I mean, that's not a small amount of money.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But that's no go.
No fans at all. And in fact, it's limited media access
Really?
too. It's like the people who are calling the games for the radio,
Yeah.
the people who are calling the games on TV, and your camera crew.
You know, at the suite too, you could lock the door, like the door to the seats. Like they could literally be in their suite.
Oh yeah, inside the glass, behind the glass.
Yeah, behind the glass.
Yeah.
Why didn't they put me on the commission?
I don't know. They should have, man. You got all the answers.
Okay, so
So this takes us to the new stadium.
rules. Okay, so
it takes us to the new stadium.
That's most of
That's
the
basically
rules.
it for as far as rules go.
Yeah.
So the new stadium. I want to know what the Vegas line would have been for a high school graduation being the first
the
event
first event.
at the Gilf,
You know, it's not that far off. Gilf.
Globe Life Field.
Yeah, I like that. Good one, Gilf. Girlfriend. No. You know, because they have pre-build events, it's probably not that far off to guess something different than a game, right?
Right. Yeah.
But a high school
But
graduation.
but it was supposed to be like a Texas music festival or something, right? Where there was like
there
a handful of big
was.
name people coming through there
Yep.
for concerts
I
right
remember that.
before opening day was what they were supposed to be. That was supposed to be the first major events that were there. But yeah, so far the only thing that's happened inside there is high school graduations. So if no fans are allowed inside, it's going to be next year before we actually have an official opening day for Globe Life Field.
I'm trying to.
The good news is there's air conditioning.
Okay,
For the first time.
dude, that is like the craziest thing about this whole deal is like, so this is, I got so much going on when I think about that is, I mean, you Darvish
Yeah.
today in this stadium, like what, please, you Darvish could throw any pitch anytime, all the time, right?
Right.
But it was Texas Heat that screwed him up.
Absolutely.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that, right? We
Yeah.
all, I mean, I don't know if anybody says otherwise, but they're lying, right?
Right.
So you Darvish in this stadium, okay. Corey Kluber. Oh, okay, we brought Cliff Lee down, who was a stud.
Absolutely.
Imagine him being in the.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
We rented him for 3 months.
Look,
right? And when it came
Yeah.
time for him
Yeah.
to say, okay, hey, you want to stay here? No, it's a little too hot.
Butthead.
Yeah.
Was that the 2010?
Yes.
And so, yeah, if he comes back in 2011, if we have the stadium and he comes back in 2011.
Yeah. Okay. So get
All
this.
right, gosh.
So
Okay.
I'm gonna steal this.
stadium.
I'm gonna steal this, because I first heard about them talking about this on the ticket, on 96.7 1310 AM. The ticket. Right.
Oh, plug? Did they pay you for that?
And no, maybe I'll get a ticket T-shirt or something. But they pulled this from Sports Day DFW, that's kind of who they're connected with, right, through their stream.
Okay.
They'll hook up with them. So from the Dallas Morning News, Sports Day DFW, they put out this chart in the Dallas Morning News, and it's talking about the air conditioning in the new stadium. So this chart shows the outdoor stadiums with the most 90-plus degree game time temperatures since 1994, which was the year that the ballpark in Arlington
Shit.
opened, okay? All right, so it's going to be a nice, cool, crisp 72 degrees every game time
Every game.
once we get inside Globe Life Field, right? But since 1994, here are some of the other teams and how many 90-degree temperatures are higher at game time they've had, right? So for, what is it, 1994, that's how many years?
94 to 2020 is 26 years.
26 years. The Oakland A's have had 2 games.
Above 90?
Above 90. San Francisco has had 6. San Diego, only 7. You've got a couple in the 20s. Minnesota with 20. Cleveland with 26. You've got 3 more with 40 plus. Pittsburgh, Los Angeles, Detroit. The Angels had 51. The Cubs, which this was surprising to me. I would think Chicago, it could still get pretty hot there in the summers. They've only had 53. 90 plus more. 90 plus degrees higher or more.
Only 53.
Only 53.
That's a lot of games.
Over the span of, what is it, 26 years?
That makes so much more sense. That's a lot.
They basically average 2 a year.
Yeah. That's why they have all they were known for day games forever.
That's what I'm saying. That's what shocked me was for how many day games, how many 105 starts or 205 starts they've had. They've only had, basically they average 2 a year.
Yeah.
Of 90 degrees or more. Okay. So
and this is 90 degrees or more. Like,
yeah,
we'll settle for 90 all day long.
Dude, I'm clapping for 90.
Yeah,
right?
please.
I'm taking one layer of Dio off at 90 degrees. I'm saving a little of the stick at 90 degrees.
I like that.
I like it's the 105s at game time that scare me. Yeah, that get me to stay home. A couple with 60, the Mets and Boston, 60 and 64 there. The White Sox have had 73, the Yankees 79. The only teams that crack 100, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's only 9 teams that have had 100 or more games
over 26 years.
Over 26 years. Miami, because they played a lot of their games outdoors. They don't not anymore. They don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, they're indoors.
But they had 105.
Yeah.
Cincinnati with 111. Philadelphia with 133. The Rockies at 171. Atlanta 173, which that's
Rockies were 171.
Yeah. It can still get a little warm up there. I mean, you're a little bit closer to the sun. You're a mile closer to the sun.
That John Denver's full of shit, man. Sorry.
Atlanta with 173, which I actually thought that would be higher.
Yeah.
Because it can get pretty steamy down there in the deep, deep south.
This is in 26 years, right?
In 26 years, yeah. Okay, here we go. Kansas City, 268. So they're averaging about 10 a season. 268 for Kansas City. Baltimore is 314.
Where's our rank, by the way, right now?
Oh,
you have a rank
Kansas
number?
Kansas City would be 4th place.
Okay.
4th place with 268. Baltimore, 314. So basically 11 a season. St. Louis, 335. So now you're up to around somewhere about 12, maybe 13 games a year. Texas, number 1. 762 games. 762 games. Double.
Over double.
Yeah. 762 games where it's been 90 degrees or hotter.
Okay, so you were at 30 games, 26, about 26, about
over
30
26
games.
seasons.
Okay, well,
so
listen.
31,
So double
31
that.
games a year.
We doubled that to 60 plus a little bit more. So 65 of your 80 games. I mean, that's what
No.
played in.
No, it would if you're at 760 over the span of 26 seasons, 81 home games a year, you're at right about 31.
Okay, 30.
31 games a year.
Okay, I see what you're okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, 31 games a year are 90 degrees or above.
At start time.
But that's exactly why when we go down here into pitchers and position players and things like that, position players not so much because hitters loved to come here because this was a hitter's park.
Yeah.
The ball will travel when it's 95 degrees, slight wind, blowing out into the outfield, right? Batters love to hit here.
Hey,
pitchers hated to pitch here.
Hold on real fast. You're louder than you were a while ago. Do you know, are you just closer to the mic?
Am I just getting more excited?
I think you probably are.
I think I'm just getting a little bit more excited.
Just a little, just like a hair.
All right, baseball's
because
back.
loud is good.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to yell at you.
No, that's all. I enjoy that, but I don't want to ruin the audio.
No. Yeah.
I was noticing it was louder. So, okay, so 31 games out of 80 home games. That's less than half. The amazing part, though, is that it's double than any other. Right. It's more than double any other team.
Well, and the bad part about it is that the majority of those 31, the average of 31 games that are going to happen that are that hot or at that temperature are all in pivotal parts of the season.
I was about to say towards the end of the season.
It's all in the late July's, August, first parts of September.
Well, September's hot as crazy hot too.
Yeah.
September almost has a low temp feel, just thought to the word September.
But
there's no doubt.
No. So that's that's big time playoff push time.
Oh man.
And so that can definitely hurt you. That can hinder you, not only just in your gameplay, right? That your pitchers aren't performing well already the farther into the season you go, because over time they're getting taxed, their body's getting taxed, they're getting collectively more exhausted and tired because they've been the other 25 starts that they've had throughout their beginning of the year, regardless of the heat, right? But now it's their start number 31.
Oh God!
And last week of August, and they're within a game of first place. Man, that's tough.
I'm gonna talk on that real fast. One, they adjust to it,
right?
It's still a tax.
Yeah.
And I sold hot dogs out there and water, and I walked the stands carrying a big old deal, running up walking upstairs. That's enough, right? But I did it, right? And I didn't die. Of course, I was 19, but and that was only for a little bit of a time, as opposed to hurling a ball for 3 hours.
Yeah, for sure.
So I feel like a lot of people dismiss that, and I just wonder how true of a effect that is.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
I think over time, in the middle of a season, I think it could be very taxing.
Yeah.
And it could deter a player from wanting to re-sign or sign as a free agent here, because they could look at that chart right there and be like, no, I'll go hang out. Well, maybe not Oakland, because Oakland doesn't play any of their they don't pay any of their players ever. As soon as someone gets good in Oakland, they send them off.
Yeah.
And,
well, think about 05, 06, suck in Texas or suck in Oakland, or you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Oh, I'm going to Oakland, right?
Yeah.
And so,
right.
I get it. Okay, so 72 degrees.
Yeah, 72 degrees, perfect conditions inside every game, right?
And then our Octobers will open the.
Well, I imagine that some of the early games that are happening once opening days are starting in March, starting in April, right? You still have nice days that are April, first part of May, to where you're going to be able to open that roof up.
No, April,
and it's still
May,
going to be nice.
April, May, I go to 3 or 4 games.
Yeah.
And then July, August is just done.
Yeah, right.
Remember last year we took, let's see, was it the little kids or just the CSM or?
It was the student ministry went. Yeah. The Calvary student ministry. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just remember just being like, dude.
Miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah, miserable. But
and we sat there in that spot. There was a little breeze right there.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So that brings me to, I told you there's a little ray of sunshine.
Okay.
A little ray of hope.
Yeah.
I really do think that us getting air conditioning will have some type of effect in us being able to be more attractive to free agent pitchers.
Yeah.
Like I said, we haven't really had trouble signing, keeping, getting hitters to come in. That hasn't been as big of a deal.
Yeah.
It's still going to be a draw to them. But to tell a pitcher that, hey, half of your starts are guaranteed to be 72 and sunny.
Yeah. Well, and when we do find the stud pitcher that comes up in our ranks, he's not going to go. He's more likely to stay.
Right, and not be nearly as attracted to go to some other dome stadium or some other fair weather park.
I mean, time and time again. Cliff Lee's the best example of pitchers
absolutely.
Just like
right.
Okay, so are you ready to do like a roster type thing? Or okay, so I wrote down a few things. I don't have them now, but I remember them. Like Willie Calhoun,
right? Yeah,
for example.
Yeah,
he's gonna play outfield probably.
Yeah.
What's his natural position?
Okay, so that's one of the issues.
Okay, let me answer this question.
Okay,
how do we get him?
How did we?
Yeah.
We traded with the Dodgers. He came over from the Dodgers in the Darvish deal.
Was it
when
the
we
Darvish
sent
deal?
Darvish to L.A.
Okay.
He came over. He was one of their top prospects in the Dodgers organization. Came over here. Now
what was that? 15? It was probably about 16.
Man, yeah, I believe it was the I believe it was the 15 season.
Did we get Darvish instead of
No,
Lee?
no, no.
We got
It was the
Beltre
16
instead of Lee.
It was the 16 season that happened. That
Okay.
Darvish went. We traded Darvish.
Okay.
So yeah, he's gonna be a part of the outfield. Now,
Yeah.
that's one of the positions that, as far as the outfield goes, that we actually have kind of we're gluttonous in the outfield, right?
Okay.
We have Gallo, who's left field.
Is he
And
injured?
it should be his. No, he actually tested positive,
Yeah. I saw
and
that.
so they were holding him out for a little bit. But now he should be good to go.
Yeah.
Opening day should be
Should is
good to go. Right, good to go. Gallo, it should be in left. You have Shin-Soo Choo, who is also a left fielder.
My goodness. Stop right there.
Yeah.
When I saw his name, because remember, I haven't been watching the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I'm going, what? What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that quite? I mean, there was the pitcher that was also Asian, but is that the worst signing we've ever had?
Oh, you
ever?
mean Chan-Ho Park?
Chan-Ho.
Oh gosh,
Chan-Ho
that guy was
worst,
awful.
One of the worst.
Yeah.
But Shin-Soo Choo, like,
His contract is
it's like 10
abysmal.
years, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's that long.
No.
But it was.
because think about it. It's 2020. I'm sorry. Is he re-signed now? It's an original
No,
contract.
we're still under. Yeah, we're still trying to make do with that contract.
Dude,
Yeah.
no. This is 2020.
It's definitely hamstrung us
Yeah.
for the last couple of years having his deal.
Every
Because
now and then he's kind of hit a few good hits, right?
Right.
You know, but
And last year he had an incredible run. Last year, where
Did
he had this incredible on base
percentage.
streak where it was like so many games in a row that he had an on base.
So
Got on base.
talk money. Is that a good move to always have that Asian market? A guy like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean, that's a thing.
I don't know that there are, thousands of fans over there
Yeah,
rocking Shin-Soo Choo jerseys.
Yeah.
Maybe when he first came up and, started becoming a big deal in the major leagues there, I think it was in Cincinnati is where he was originally.
This is his final year of his contract.
Yeah, but that thing's been impossible for us to move. I mean, every year, I would say every year for the last probably 3 seasons at least, we've been trying to trade him at the trade deadline, but no one will take him.
Yeah.
Because they all want us to eat, the majority of what's left of that
Hey.
contract. It's so incredibly hard to move.
7-year, 130.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Dude?
Yeah.
Oh, $42 million. We've been paying him $42 million a year.
Wait. No, that's not right.
$18 million.
Yeah. 18.
What's
That
4
sounds
times 2? 4 times 7 times 4 is 2. That's 280. Yeah, I'm saying 180.
Yeah.
Sorry. 18 million.
Right.
Oh, I thought. Well, what did I see? 42. We owe him additional 42 million when his salary's paid off.
Wow.
So at the end of this
That's
year,
incredible.
this is his contract year. He better earn that 42 million.
Yeah, right. In 60 games.
Yeah.
So he's a natural left fielder as well, but because of his age, he's not able to move as much as he has in the past or as quickly. His defense isn't as good as it had been.
So he's in the right.
He's taking all the DH. Basically all the DH at bats is going to be Shin-Soo Choo.
Okay.
When he gets days off, it'll be another one of these.
Well, hopefully,
Most likely another one of these outfielders. We picked up Todd Frazier
dude,
in the offseason.
I saw that.
Who's now going to be first base
How did we get him?
and
Because
DH.
it's been about 2 or 3 years, but he was the home run stud. Has he
Right.
kind of not?
That's fallen off
Yeah.
quite a bit. His glory years are past him.
roids or
But he had been in New York with the Mets.
okay. I remember that. Yeah.
For a couple of seasons, and then they moved on because they have the polar bear up there, Pete Alonso now, who is he is a masher,
Really?
dude, at first base, and Frazier had, for the most part of his career, he'd been third base, but now he's limited in mobility, so he's going to be first base. DH type, right? So Shin-Soo Choo and Frazier.
Frazier's naturally third base too, isn't he?
Yeah, he had been third base. Now they've got him. He's going to be playing first, which means they moved on from Ronald Guzman, which that guy was terrible. That guy's awful.
I remember seeing him on there.
He's still on the roster.
Is
but
he?
I if he gets 5 at bats, it's 5 too many this year. I can't stand that guy. He's awful. But back to the outfield, we have Danny Santana, who was a huge bright spot
remember.
last year. Had a great season last year.
Did he come from Cleveland?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nick Solak, who is one of these up-and-comer prospects. He developed and became a prospect stud in Tampa Bay's system.
Okay.
And we got him from Tampa Bay. Let's see. And then Willie Calhoun, the guy that you mentioned that we got from the Dodgers.
Okay.
So our outfield is going to be stacked. I mean, we got guys that can play. that are productive guys that are out there in the outfield. No, he's gone. He went to Cleveland in the Kluber with Kluber.
Oh, was that the Kluber deal?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I always liked him, but I mean, I get it. If you can get Kluber.
So the interesting player in that whole dynamic is, I think, Nick Solak.
Really?
Because his bat is right where they want it to be.
Yeah.
His defense is not anywhere close to where they would like it to be for him to be a regular. And it's not helping that he doesn't really have, hey, look, this is your position we want you working on every day, all day. When you come to the stadium early, you're taking grounders at second. Yeah. And that's only where we want you focused. He's basically the Swiss Army knife that's a jack of all trades, master of none when it comes to defense. But his bat is so valuable that they've got to find a spot to put him somewhere. And that's why I think if Rougned Odor at second starts off slow, like he's notorious for starting off slow,
they put Solak in there.
I think the hook is quick.
Really?
For Odor to get him off the field, because they're not going to sit around and let his bat fart around.
Are him and Elvis still super tight buddies?
Yeah. And Elvis, I mean, he's the stalwart. I mean, he's the elder statesman. He's the most consistent.
How cool is that
person on that entire roster?
That's one of the coolest things about looking at the roster right now, especially a guy that's been gone, not watching the last couple of years, is that Elvis Andrus is like the veteran, salty veteran.
Yeah.
Who's been around the block and a career Ranger.
Right.
I mean, just like one of the coolest things.
This will be his 11th season starting as the starting shortstop.
Yeah.
For the Rangers. 11th season in a row.
So that takes you to 2009 was his first, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, it amazes me. And he's been up and down, and now he's to a point where he's just like one of our most solid players, right?
Yeah.
That's
most consistent, most productive. He's the guy. Does he
use a 36-inch, do you know?
Oh, I don't know.
Because I think Beltre had him using the 36-inch bat.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
Before Beltre retired.
Yeah.
And it kind of changed a while, but now he got used to it.
And so, well, you mentioned Beltre. So we've been trying to figure out who's gonna be third.
Yeah.
Who's gonna play third? He's not ready yet. He's not ready to be up here. The future is Josh Young or the guy I mentioned earlier, Shirt and Apostle. He's gonna be another stud. He's another masher.
Chris, what'd you call it? What's his name?
Shirt and Apostle.
Shirton.
Sherten.
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 Is that his first name?
Sherten. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Apostle is excuse me,
like the Apostle Paul?
Apostel. It's like Apostle,
but
like in the Bible, but
EL,
not LE. So the job has been won by Isaiah Kiner Falefa.
How about?
Do you remember?
Okay, that's the guy I wrote down. Yeah. I don't know anything about him. I wrote his name down.
He's been like we talked about with Solak. I mean, his bat's not there. Isaiah Kiner Falefa, he's not going to be the hitter that Solak is, but he's this can
Stud,
play anything, anything utility type. He played catcher, for a couple of seasons on and off. Last year when we didn't have Chirinos, when he went to Houston for last season.
Okay.
Falefa had a handful of starts there at catcher. He can play all over the place, but apparently he had a good spring training before the whole pandemic thing. He's been playing well recently, in these inner squads and these. I believe he came up in our system. Came through our system.
Very cool.
So Kiner Falefa, he'll start out at third base. I do still think that maybe Frazier will get a couple of third base starts here and
when
there
you start switching
for days
out
off.
with DH and days off and Gallo.
Once the season starts,
is Gallo pretty much an outfielder for sure?
Yes.
I mean, like he doesn't come back.
Coming up, he was, coming up to the prospect ranks. They thought, okay, that's going to be the third. That's going to be the third baseman that takes over for Beltre.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. They then wanted him to do first base. For some reason, that didn't work out either. I don't know if it was him necessarily not wanting to, or maybe didn't have the skills for it. But he's got good range in the outfield for being a bigger guy. He's got a good arm, and he can hit to carry that position out there in left field. I mean, I really do think because he's gotten better and better over these last couple of seasons. You know, originally when he first came up, he was all or nothing, man. It was either strikeout or homer.
So real quick, that was one of the things Nate was talking about, the air hog guy. You know, baseball is becoming the three true deal. It's like a strikeout. It's either a strikeout, home run, or pop. You know, it's like those are the three true outcomes of baseball.
Right.
The only thing that they care about anymore, right?
Right.
And that's like a thing. It's not like the purist or non-purist. It's just like it's numbers shows that, hey, it may be nice or skillful to get a guy on first and move him to second, but the numbers don't prove that that's a better way. It's better to have a guy that may strike out 100 times, but it'll also score X amount of runs or whatever.
But when he connects, his bat speed and his launch angle are sending that thing into freaking orbit.
Right.
And so
and it
we'd rather
helps
have
if
that than
someone,
singles.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. If someone's on first is less important than the guy who can just hit the home run, right? And obviously, the more people that are on base.
Right.
But he was saying how the numbers show that the difficulty in doing that, whatever. So maybe the guy right before him, he's a big on-base percentage guy.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I really do think that Gallo has, if as long as he stays healthy, and he keeps, having these incremental developments that he's like where he's being more selective on pitches. He's not swinging out of his shoes every single pitch that he sees. He's picking and choosing which ones he chooses to attack.
Yeah.
With that powerful swing. I really do think now he's going to have some type of protection around him, with the guys like you're talking about, Andrus, who sees a lot of pitches, who's an on-base type guy.
And Chu apparently had that on-base percentage
Chu is
last
an
year.
on-base type guy. You have some protection now behind him with guys like Solak, Santana, who a pitcher is not going to be like, okay, well, I'll just throw 4 over to Denton, just to get him to not swing at a pitch, so he doesn't go over the fence, and I'll just attack the next guy because he's not very good. Well, now he's not gonna, now he's not gonna have.
I was making sure that was the reference.
Yeah. Just we're throwing it way out there so he doesn't swing at it.
Over to Grand Prairie.
Yeah. So, we're gonna take away the idea of the homer just so we can go on and attack the next guy because he's not very good. Well, that's been the case in the last couple of years where he hasn't had nearly the type of menacing hitter that's going to come up behind him, right? Because he had been hitting behind Beltre.
Yeah.
Right now, if it would have been switched, right, maybe pitcher doesn't want to face Beltre, so we'll take our chances with Gallo hitting one out, kind of a deal. So, but now he's going to have protection back there in the lineup, so I think he's going to see more good pitches to hit. Is basically the idea, and I think he could very easily in the next couple of seasons become an MVP type candidate.
Yeah, that's his deal, and he's getting the years under him. Now he's no longer the guy coming up trying to make it. I mean, he's starting. He started last. I know he's injury prone, right?
Yeah, he's had a handful of.
By the way, when you talked about Beltre being a missing hitter, and I immediately thought of, I always go back to 2010. Sorry, but we had Vlad Guerrero that year.
Right.
That dude was like a freaking stud, and you had to pitch to him. If you threw a ball at the head, he's swinging at it.
He's still swinging at the ones in Denton.
Off. Yeah.
Yeah, he's swinging at the Denton pitches. Yeah.
You need guys like that.
Right.
Okay, so another thing that stood out in the lineup for me, Chirinos.
Yeah.
I've always been a Chirinos fan.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
And he's a good hitter. Is he our only catcher? And he'll be probably the ninth hitter still?
He needs to get as many starts as he wants.
Yeah.
He does well with the pitching
Didn't
staff.
he hit for the cycle for us? That was Benji Molina.
That was Benji Molina. Run, big boy, run. Yeah, that was in Boston. Yeah, that was in Boston. Benji
but
Molina
Chirinos has done well.
Chirinos is he's
very
a decent,
serviceable.
Yeah, he's a decent enough hitter. He does well with the pitching staff. Up until last year. Like I said, last year he did go to Houston for a year, but before then he had a good rapport with the pitching staff. Worked well with them. The other guy that we have is Jeff Mathis. He's been like this journeyman type catcher. I mean, if you know
Trinos
him,
was
if you
kind of
knew
like
him,
that.
yeah, that's true.
Before he's been
Right. If you
course,
knew
he
of
went
Jeff
to-
Mathis, he was in Los Angeles with the Angels under Socha, so you know that he's going to be a good defensive.
Wasn't Socha a catcher?
Yeah, Socha was a catcher, and he's notorious for developing catchers and being tough on his catchers because he was such a good one.
Yeah.
And so Jeff Mathis, Mathis is very defensive minded.
Yeah.
Right. If he ever hits his weight, it's a miracle kind of a thing. You know, Mathis, he's not going to swing the bat well, but he also shouldn't get more than a handful of starts. Hopefully,
200 hits 200.
Hopefully it's Chirinos that
stays in
mans
there.
the plate.
Okay, so I'm not flying through this, but we are because the lineup, which we'll touch on. But Kluber, Minor, Lance Lynn, I noticed the first top three.
Yeah.
Which, quick question about Mike Minor.
Yeah.
Well, he played for us last year, right?
Right. Minor and Lynn both came last year.
Yeah. Where's he from? What's his?
He came from Atlanta.
Did he ever play in Tampa
for a
Bay?
bit.
Who was the guy? Okay, and so I'm wrong already. But who was the guy in Game 1 versus Tampa Bay? I think it was the 11 playoffs. They just brought him up for that one game, and he just like one hit us, the Rangers. It was Mike something. That's why I always got confused on that. Tampa Bay Game 1. We beat them. I think 2 games after that, 3 games after that.
Yeah.
But the first game here, Mike something.
Man, I don't know.
That's like
I'd have to find that.
And that's like kind of detailed. Game 1.
Right.
I don't know if it's 2010 or 2011. Pretty sure it's 2011. But I think it might be Mike Minor, dude. Because when you said Atlanta, that makes sense. We swept them after that. What'd you look up?
Matt Moore.
Mike Minor, Matt Moore.
Moore was his name.
Sorry,
Yeah.
way off.
Yeah. Samsonite. I was way off.
Samsonite.
Yeah, Matt Moore. That was
I
11, yeah.
Did Lynn and Minor had decent years last year?
Yeah,
right?
and in fact, they were almost mirror images of each other. They had really good seasons last year.
What's a really good season though?
And I mean, for
20
us,
wins?
no, they're not having 20 wins.
10 for us. Is 10.
Yeah, for us, that would be a huge win, right?
I guess you're right, like 10-5 type deal, 10-7. I don't know. And the ERAs have to drop, right?
Or do they go up? Because now it's universal DH, so you're not getting the pitcher every 9th hitter in the National League.
Well, that's only those 20 games.
That's true.
That's the difference for us.
So last year, Minor was 14-10.
That's good.
Yeah, with a 3.59 ERA.
Aaron Seeley type.
Yeah, and 200 strikeouts. So
Wait, 200 strikeouts?
That's more than serviceable, yeah.
I think 200 strikeouts is like quite well.
Yeah, it is now. Yeah, with pitchers on limited pitch counts and not trying to take up as many innings.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely.
What's a lot of strikeouts in a season?
It's still going to be around your 260 to 280, getting closer to the 300 strikeouts.
So 3 or 4 more per game, which is a lot.
Right, it's a whole nother inning.
Yeah.
Last year, Lance Lynn was 16-11.
Dude, both of those, yeah. I mean, that's Aaron Seeley, Rick Hilling.
Yeah, 1996.
Dude, nice.
AL West champions.
Yeah. Seeley went to Seattle.
So they do have, I would say that as far as for opening day, right? I would say that this is the best rotation maybe in team history.
Okay.
As far as from number 1 to number 5.
You know 4 and 5 off the top of your head?
Kyle Gibson, who's coming over
Milwaukee.
from Minnesota.
Okay. Yeah, Minnesota, but he used to be real bad.
Yeah. Well,
I remember there was a
one
year
of these
or two
guys,
where it was like, whoa.
Yeah, Gibson was supposed to be one of these like big, huge prospects that came up, and because he wasn't, Scherzer or Strasburg, people kind of viewed him as maybe he doesn't really have anything.
Yeah.
And
He had a bad season or two.
I want to say that he was originally with Toronto, maybe, He came up with Toronto and then went to Minnesota.
Yeah.
But now Gibson is here. He's going to be your 4. And the 5 is Jordan Lyles.
What's his deal?
Okay, so Jordan Lyles, he had a swim through Houston as well with the Astros. He's kind of bounced around a little bit.
Okay, so I've not heard of him.
And I'm pretty sure Lyles came over from Milwaukee, was the guy who came over from Milwaukee this last offseason.
Lyles is?
But he's gonna be your 5th. And as you know, one of those guys go down, right? Your 6th guy, who's gonna be another one of your starters, is the young kid Colby Allard.
Colby
Allard.
Do we have a closer?
He came over from that's a $64,000 question.
Oh man.
Colby
right.
Allard. Allard he's a lefty came over from Atlanta. He was another one of those big prospect type guys. Had a little bit of an injury issue. Didn't perform like they wanted him to. We get him in a deal, and he's a lefty, so he's going to be more than likely the next starter up if something happens to one of those guys. But
unless you're bred to be the closer, that's okay. Like MLB doesn't have. Okay, last World Series winner, Nationals. Who was their closer? You don't know? Will
Harris.
See?
I believe.
I didn't know Will Harris. I mean, so I'm sure you did because you're in the.
I think that's who he was.
Yeah. How many saves did he have? 40?
Not real sure.
Point taken, right? Like.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I've noticed that was less and less. I feel like there was a few years there where it was like, you got to have a closer and that's it. Now they've got specialists.
Yeah.
Which we're taking the specialist out now. 3 batter minimum. Wow.
Right.
This is going to be fun.
Yeah. So that does bring us to probably the most questionable area is the bullpen.
Okay.
Because I do think it ends up being closer by committee.
Yeah.
Simply because they're not sure if Leclerc, he has the talent, but does he has the mindset and that killer instinct and the short memory that is required to be a good closer, a good effective closer, right? You got to have some nasty pitches, you got to have a little bit of a nasty attitude, and you got to have a short memory.
My purist mentality doesn't like that 3 batter minimum.
Yeah.
However, I do recognize that as one of the most frustrating things in watching baseball is the 3 pitcher, like
bringing 3 different pitchers in one half inning all to get 1 out apiece. Yeah.
And that is a problem.
Yeah.
On the same note, that's why there's roster limitations, right? Like,
right. And that's also why rosters get expanded.
Well, see, rosters shouldn't be
towards the end of the seasons. You know how you have September call-ups and things like that. You know, people making playoff pushes and. I don't know.
Okay, so rosters expanded would allow you to make the one guy.
Right.
So that offset, that's not the difference. So rosters should actually be smaller, given you have to have a 3 batter minimum, right? Rosters should be smaller because you have a 3 batter minimum. That makes sense.
Right.
Now, COVID offsets that.
Yeah.
But, So, hey, XFL was a introduction to new rules, right?
Right, yeah.
And so this is our XFL. When the Rangers win the World Series this year, will we have an asterisk?
I mean, I'm sure they'll probably put some type of little denotation out there onto the side.
Wasn't there a shortened baseball season in the 90s?
The strike shortened season,
and
to where they just didn't finish, right?
So they didn't finish at all. So it's not that they didn't start, or they didn't finish.
I believe they didn't.
Come on, Josh. How old were you then?
Man, I was only like 9, so.
on 9, I could tell you every baseball player's name in the MLB when I was 9.
I probably could. I memorized the back of baseball cards.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I always enjoyed. My
I think it was 90. It was 95 was the strike shortened season. Is that right? 94 or 95?
81. There's probably another one here, but 94 strike shortened season.
Yeah.
And so that was over. That's crazy. Midway through.
Yeah.
It's funny because like in the aughts and even early teens, you're like, oh, these guys are selfish. Back in the day, they were never like this. No, literally just about every decade.
Yeah. Every generation. I'm never coming back to baseball.
Yeah. I did that for a few years. Yeah. Okay, so.
So the bullpen is shaky at best, right? Because we don't know who necessarily is going to be the closer for sure. They want it to be Leclerc. Woodward, the manager, has also said that he's not afraid and not opposed to using him in other high leverage situations throughout the game, right? So like we said, 60 games, anything can happen in 60 games. When the season starts getting down towards the end and guys are in, our teams are in, heated playoff battles, now every game counts, right?
Yeah.
Every game ultimately counts, whether it was a win back in the second week of April or it's the last 4 games of the season.
That's why putting runners on base
each game
is crazy.
Should count the same, but they become more and more important the farther along you get into the season, right? So he has said that he's not opposed to, hey, look, let's say we're within a couple of games of first place and we're in a big series out in Oakland, right? And we're tied in the standings with them. It's in the 7th inning. We're nursing a 1-run lead. They've got a couple of guys on base. We really got to get these next couple of guys out. I'll bring in Leclerc then.
Yeah.
Right? Because that is a high leverage situation.
Yeah.
To where
instead of a closer situation.
I need his stuff right here.
Yeah.
Right? And then once we get past this inning, we'll figure out the 8th and 9th. But for right now, we got to get this.
That's kind of what they do in like playoff baseball, right? Bring in who.
That's basically what he has said.
This out now.
Yeah, he's basically said we're going to manage these games like it's playoff baseball.
We're kind of in playoff baseball to start the season, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
60-game season. That's absolute. That's not maybe sort of. I mean, you got to position yourself quick.
Yeah.
To get to the playoffs. So we're already, like you said, in the Nationals, we're in last place first half of the season. Or whatever.
And they pick it up and they get hot in the summer.
Yeah.
End up winning a World Series.
Yeah.
And so the rest of the bullpen is made up by guys that are cast-offs from other places. Guys like Nick Goody, who came from Cleveland as well, who they're hoping they get a lot from him. He had some injury issues the year before last and part of last season. Did pretty well towards the end of the year last year. Cleveland didn't pick him up. We pick him up. Signed a guy from Japan coming back over here. Yeah.
Really?
Rafael Montero.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Is another guy who they think that he could be the closer if Leclerc isn't right. Yeah. It could be Montero because he's the guy he's got stuff, right? That he checks that box. And hopefully that he has that mindset, that killer instinct mindset of a closer, that he can win that closer's job if Leclerc isn't right. And they also have another former Cleveland Indian. He was their closer. I don't know if you remember from I think it's from 2013.
Trevor Bauer?
No, he was a starter. From 2013 to 2015 or 16, Cody Allen was their closer. Again, he's another guy that had
we got all these
injuries.
questions in the bullpen.
Yeah, so the bullpen is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like
be tough.
When you were the rest of the team, you were talking about, you felt like we got what it takes at least to compete and be there,
right?
Except the bullpen, and that's a major issue, dude.
Yeah.
You can have shortfalls in the outfield,
right?
But when your bullpen doesn't work, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, 50-50 doesn't go to the playoffs.
No, and that's the other thing too. Playoffs. As far as any expectations or predictions go, for the season. Again, at 60 games, man, anything can happen in 60 games. But I'm just looking at their competition. So they're 40 games that are against the division opponents, right? Mm-hmm. the Astros are still the Astros.
Yeah.
They're still going to be the team to beat
But they're not cheating anymore.
in the AL West. Yeah. Now, we'll see how good they really are because they're not able to bang trash cans as loudly, right? Because now there's not going to be any fans to cover up the sound, right?
Yeah.
You're going to definitely hear that trash can,
Yeah.
coming in. So
What
the
was that
Astros-
whole deal? I know of it, but
off-speed pitches coming, 2 bangs,
Yeah.
or something like that.
and
So,
they knew because they were stealing signs.
no, cameras out in center field
We're stealing signs.
were on a attached to a computer. They were synced up to an outfield camera.
Yeah.
So there's a guy sitting just inside the dugout, just inside the hallway, out past the dugout.
Yeah.
Literally just sitting at a desk with a laptop watching the video, and he's watching the catcher throw down the signs.
Yeah.
And they're seeing the signs from
So-
the catcher, and because it's a real time, it's
Yeah.
happening instantaneous. So they're seeing that feed. He's able to sit back there and
So I think stealing signs with your eyes
is part of the game.
is part of the game, but using video,
technology and
that's-
video technology to do it.
That's not.
right.
It's
That's where the
like-
cheating comes in.
Yeah. Okay. And that's
Yeah.
where they got in trouble.
Right.
Were they
It's di-
stripped?
It's different if you've got a guy on second
Yeah.
and he
He's
has
reading.
he has figured out, oh hey, this is gonna be a change up in the dirt, and he gives a little something or a little
Yeah.
whatever to the guy
Yeah,
at
to
the
the
plate that
batter.
they know between each other.
Yeah.
Look, you need to lay off this one because it's in the dirt.
Yeah.
That kind of a deal.
And that's okay, right?
That's like you
Baseball.
said. That's part of the game. That's
Yeah.
baseball.
That's why signs are down here between your legs. You're trying to hide it from everybody.
Right, right.
Because people can read them.
Or a catcher and a pitcher know that, hey, if we've got somebody on second, we're gonna go with a different set of signs,
Yep.
a different
Yeah.
a different pattern of signs to try to keep that. Yeah, there you go. So like I said, the Astros are still gonna be the Astros. I still think they're the team to beat just because of talent.
Oakland
as far
sucks.
as
LA
far as
has Trout.
rotation goes, lineup goes, it's still going to be the Astros. The A's, their issue is going to be arms this year. They've got a lot of young kids with talent as far as the pitching staff goes, but I still think they'll have the bats to keep them in games and play well. The Angels, they have Trout. They also added Anthony Rendon from the Nationals.
Yeah.
Who's
I like
a
him.
big power hitting third baseman. They're going to be good. Their issue is also pitching. Do they have enough? They brought in a couple of guys, Julio Teheran from Atlanta, if you remember
Teheran.
him. Yeah, he's had history of being pretty good.
Yeah.
But he's another one of these hot and cold guys, really inconsistent.
Hot
They
and
also-
cold?
Yeah, hot and cold. Got that. And they also brought in Dylan Bundy. I don't know if you remember that name from the Orioles. He was another one of these guys that was a highly touted prospect. Kind of didn't amount to much there in Baltimore, which hardly anybody ever amount to anything in Baltimore. But not
Unless
since
you're
Cal
Cal
Ripken. But so he comes over. So they're gonna have some pitching things they're gonna have to work through. But again, their lineup should keep them in games. And then I think
Seattle.
Seattle's in tear down rebuild with
Really?
youth mode.
That's a scary time. You
yeah.
always get that.
Oh yeah.
That's why I love baseball.
Right.
There's no.
So this is going to be the Ranger homer,
Yeah.
right? But I definitely can see the American League West having 4 out of their 5 teams right at around 500.
Yeah.
For the season. And a lot of that has to do with us beating up on each other. Like
Yeah.
4 pretty good, solid contending teams that are just going to be beating up on each other
Yeah,
for
2-2.
30 of those games,
Yeah.
And so that's going to kind of even it
Tying
out.
series.
Yeah. And with us playing the NL West, which for those other 20 games, I mean, San Diego, they've got a lot of young talent, but still they're trying to figure things out. The Rockies are the NL West version of the Rangers,
Yeah.
where they've got some good, solid pieces at certain positions, good hitters, questionable arms, maybe questionable bullpen,
Yeah.
right? Is their offense going to be enough to keep them in games, which is basically what the Rangers are going to be dealing with. But like I said, I think our rotation is better. So as far as the front end goes, I think we're going to be more than okay. And then of course we're going to have to play the Dodgers, which they're the cream of the crop in the whole league.
Wow.
Right. But yeah, and playing the Giants, the Giants are the Mariners in the NL West. They're in a tear down rebuild.
Are they really?
Type going through the youth movement.
Hey, who's Hunter Pence play for?
Utah, the University of Texas at home.
Does he really?
I think he retired.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I was a fan. I was a big fan of him.
I don't think he came back. No. He finished.
He was doing well.
Yeah, he played all right, but I don't think he's picked up anywhere.
I had business law with him at UTA.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
University of Texas at
Arlington. Do you like my Utah? University of Texas at home?
Yeah, I had to think about it. So I can't stop thinking about this, and this is what I love about baseball is, did you see City Slickers, Billy Crystal?
Yeah.
And they're like middle of the cattle drive, and the girl that's on there is like, he would just sit around and talk about baseball. And they're like, what's wrong with talking about baseball? Or I don't know. But she goes, baseball's fine. I just don't see how you guys can sit around and talk about it for hours. Like, who played third base for the Pittsburgh Pirates in 1978?
And they all
go, Dono! I beat you to it.
Yeah.
And I feel like we would do that. Like, who played third baseman for the Texas Rangers in 2004? Hank Blaylock.
Yeah. Okay, so actually, it's showing that Hunter Pence is back in San Francisco.
That's what I thought.
Apparently, he got picked up for another year.
No, he's good enough, and
Yeah.
you can turn down that money to play baseball.
Right.
You know?
Well, and again, we talked about the universal DH rule. That's going to help him out. That's how he's going to get at bats.
Yeah.
He's going to be that DH for the.
I was kind of hoping
Giants.
he'd stick around a while, just because he's a hometown guy.
kid.
Cool, man.
So, do I think they have what it takes to do it? Can they make a wild card run? I think they could.
Is it still a single game wild card playoff?
Yeah.
So 3 division winners, 2 wild cards.
Yeah.
That's weird.
And then the winner of the wild card faces the number 1 overall seed, the best record.
So what would you rather see? And then you use your best pitcher right before you go up against the best team.
Yeah.
I think that's a weird one game playoff.
Yeah.
I don't like that wild card.
Yeah.
I like the wild card.
Right.
As
if it was like a best out of 3 even.
Sure. Yeah. I think it's got I think it totally messes everything up.
Yeah. I don't think it's as abnormal when you're only playing a 60-game regular season.
Yeah, right.
To have a one-game play-in.
Sure.
Because basically the whole season has felt like a one-game play-in, right?
Yeah.
Because it's that important. Every game is that important.
And then when there's a wild card or division tie, I get it.
Yeah.
1-game playoff, right? Like,
right.
This is it.
Right.
But to be the actual playoff is a one. I don't like that.
And here's what's crazy to me is that could be the first time you've seen that team all year long.
Yeah.
As well, right? Because you're only playing in the American League. You're only playing your division opponents.
We got to play the Orioles for a freaking.
Oh well,
chance.
we're not going to play them. We said anything can happen in 60 games. The Orioles are not making the wild card. Write it down.
This is your This is your bet.
Yeah.
This is your prediction.
Yeah. So, all that being said, I don't think that they make a wild card run. I think that they're close, and I think they finish right at 500, maybe a game over or a game under. I think they're right at that 500 threshold because offense is going to be good, pitching is going to be better, still going to be shaky in the back half of games, and I still think we'll lose a handful of games that we would say that we shouldn't because of giving up runs late.
Yeah.
I think that's what's going to ultimately that's going to hurt us. That's going to hinder us from making any type of playoff push. But I do think a wild card comes from the West.
Yeah, really.
I think it'll be the Astros will win the division. I do think it's one of the A's or Angels who will come away with the wild card out of the West.
Okay, bold prediction. You heard it here. As much as I enjoy this, I really want to do maybe 30 games in, if you can think about it, where we know guys are hitting good, not hitting good.
Yeah.
We've made a trade, guys suck. Well,
Right.
we can actually talk about, because right now it's such a
crapshoot.
Yeah, it's just talking about, this guy.
What we need.
What about this guy?
What we need to do is plan on. So the trade deadline this year is another one of those things because of COVID. Everything's been shuffled around the dates. The trade deadline is August 31st. Maybe we should do a deadline day podcast or something like that. Talk about
Yeah, okay.
the teams who have made moves, the buyers, the sellers, the movers, the shakers.
Yeah.
And kind of do a half season.
A rumor mill.
Yeah, it's basically right at a half of the season is going to be done by then. You're going to be 30.
It's a month away, really.
35 to 40
month
games
and a
in.
half. Yeah.
By that time. So we could do that.
Yeah. And hopefully I'll watch between now and then. Like, you know,
at least
what I mean?
watch
like,
one.
one game. I think I'm set. I'm going to watch Friday. Like,
Yeah.
Even I put it on Hulu, so I can put it on my iPad. Even if I go out of town, I can pull up Hulu and stream it.
Yeah.
So
as long as you've got an internet connection.
rock and roll, buddy. Thanks for coming.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
for
Thank
doing
you for
this.
having me.
See you.
Appreciate it.